All right. Welcome.
Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome,
We'd
welcome,
love to know
welcome.
where you're coming in from on the chat. If you're already a member of Thrive Together Network and you've done this before, let me know in the chat. If you're brand new, tell me. I'm
And if
Jamie.
you're not a member, where did you hear about the residency? That would be great to know. Maybe you're on our newsletter list. Maybe you saw us on Instagram.
We're trying all the things.
I know it's so hard. It's so hard to put yourself out there and do the promotion and ugh.
Yeah. Awesome.
I
Welcome.
am Kaylin Butine. And I am the co-founder of the Thrive Together Network. Jamie, you want to introduce yourself while I get this loaded?
I am Jamie. I'm in Vancouver, Canada on the West Coast. And yeah, Kaylin and I joined forces Kaylin, it's only been like 6 months. It was June of last year.
6 months feels like 6 million.
Yeah, and this is our first year together where we've really made a plan for 2023. So we've created a map for our members, and this art residency is part of this plan of thriving as an artist. So
yes,
we're so
and
excited you're here.
Didn't we both of our communities last spring did the virtual residency. We just kind of did them in tandem.
Yeah.
Because really the virtual residency is a former Thrive program that we kind of adopted and then, have since just made it better and kept forward and kept growing it. So here we are. We believe that art residencies are for everyone. And this was just a statement that Jamie and I really wanted to add to the message of this art residency this year, because I think art residencies oftentimes feel like just another boundary. Like there's all these kind of walls up around who has access to art residencies, right? It's really hard to go to a residency if you're not, if you don't have XYZ, if you don't have certain things on your CV, if you don't have a long list of references, if you don't have, a grad school degree. It's really hard to go to residencies if you're a caregiver, if you have kids, if you've got a full-time job, if you can't take a month off, right? And what we love about our art residency is we really feel like it is for everyone who is able to be part of our community and who can participate, because it's so flexible. And we're going to talk about the ways that it's flexible. But I just think like this is a part of this larger ecosystem of the art world. And we are trying to do something radical here by providing space for you to experience an art residency wherever you are, however much time you have, however many resources you have available to you.
Yeah, definitely. So it is a virtual art residency, and we have seen, and Kaylin and I are both practicing artists. And so for us, we have seen how residencies really can propel you to try new things in a way. You create this container for yourself, and it's sort of this freedom to work on something maybe you've been putting off, create sort of this container to actually do some things that might feel a little scary. And so we think they really matter, and we do think that they should be available to everyone.
So we're going to just talk real briefly about a couple things that we feel like art residencies do for you. We have made a few of these points in some of our recent podcast episodes. And if you watched the info video about the residency, it's kind of the same content, but we're here in real time to chat about it. And of course, we're going to have time for questions at the end. That's really what this session is for. But just briefly, we wanted to remind a few points. We believe that, art is our cornerstone, right? Making art is the whole reason that we are artists. And so what residencies can provide you is this sacred container of time to focus on your work. It's kind of about getting back to basics. There's so many obligations that we have as artists. We have all of these hats that we wear, right? But at the foundation, at the cornerstone, we make art. And that's a beautiful thing that art residencies can provide, is sort of this refocusing, realigning on the main goal. And that is for us to make our art.
And it's a little bit of permission to do that, right? Because you've signed up. So it can provide this mental break, and it kind of gives that permission of, this is a time to make art. Especially what we love is doing it in community. So already here we have 44 people on the call. You all get permission to make art for the month of February. That's amazing. And that can be really hard to do, but we're going to create a plan to make that happen for you over the next 2 weeks to get us ready for February.
So we also believe that creativity really thrives under constraints, right? As artists, and especially artists in this day and age, social media, we're influenced by so much. There's just so many options. There's so many avenues. There's so many paths that we can take. And we love this idea of a residency sort of being this simpler system that you can plug into. We really think that the 4 weeks is kind of perfect because we do 2 prep weeks, which we're going to talk about, but the 4 weeks, the 4 work weeks that we call them in the residency program, it's like not enough time that you're going to feel overwhelmed and feel it's like it's taking forever, like you're never going to get out of this same phase and move on to the next thing. But it's also enough time to really dig in, right? Sometimes those 1 week, 2 week residencies, they're just not enough time unless you can go all out every day. And who can do that? But 4 weeks of, I'm fitting this into my life, but I'm still setting it apart and making this sacred time for it. We feel like is just such a good amount of time to set yourself up.
And we believe that artists, especially female-oriented artists, should take up space. And so this residency is asking you to take up space in your own life for your own art practice. So residencies and the language around it actually holds a lot of power. So I like to call the normal people in my life my muggles, and my muggles really do feel that a residency sounds really important. And so when I tell them that February is this artist residency that I'm a part of, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's like people accepting everyone in school. It's like the minute you say you're in university, people are like, oh, you're fine, you'll figure it out. So as an artist, I feel like we live in this space of no one really knows what the heck we're doing. And by saying you're part of an art residency, it does create this space in your life, and you can take it up and say, no, I need help, I need childcare, I need us to rework our schedule, I'm part of a residency. It's very important. Keep saying that. It's very important.
And, kind of the 5th point here that we feel like the residency brings is it does connect you with your art goals, right? You can really set yourself up. I especially love, like, we also do a September residency. If you sign up to be part of TTN for the whole year, you'll actually experience this twice, which we love. But there's something about that February residency that is just a little bit specialer to me, because it's like we're just launching into the year. We're using January to set ourselves up. We're doing our goal setting, our planning, and then we like dig into the big making. And it's like we have the whole rest of the year that comes behind February where we can say yes to opportunities because maybe we made something really great. Maybe we already have a show coming up in those, future months, and we get to make, it's like this set apart time to make the work for a future show. I know that's one thing that I'm going to be doing in February is making work for a show in April. Obviously, if you're familiar with our Taking Up Space initiative, which is all about exhibiting your work in the month of May, the February residency fits right into that pocket perfectly of making work so that we can then exhibit it together in May. So it connects you to your goals, and we just really think that's such a valuable thing.
So we have created sort of this program that we've run it about 3 times. And so we have kind of come up with our system that seems to work really well. So we do run this twice a year, and it allows sort of, as you think of your year, 2 specific times to really make art in a specific way. It's a 1-month commitment for the actual making. So the residency is 1 month. It's virtual, so you can do this from your home. You can also go away somewhere and do this, but you're going to be plugged into a community from people from all over. We love this because it's your residency, so it's your goals. A lot of residency programs, you need to write in and explain what you're going to do and why you're going to do it. We don't need that from you. We want this to be a working time. We're working artists that is going to help you get to your goals. The other thing that we really is important to us, there's no extra fee for this. So you are a member, as a member of Thrive, it's $45 a month. Then you get this as part of the program, and we do it as the full community. So if you're already a member, this is happening for you, and we're so glad you're here to kind of learn about it. If you're thinking of membership, this is all part of that membership.
So we also believe that kind of apart from the things Jamie just described, this flexibility, sort of the way that we've set up the residency, the second biggest thing that makes our residency special is that experience of community support, right? It's like the magic sauce is getting to do this with other artists. What other program, other than kind of smaller, maybe some artists go away to Hambidge or like a certain residency, but you're usually in a small group, right? Of like 8 or 10 artists. This is like a big group. There's so many artists to connect with. We're all, kind of doing our own thing, but we come together each week to share. We give each other encouragement and, just that community. There's such an ease and there's such an easy way to access everybody and see what everybody's up to. We set all of that up for you. We give you prompts to share what you're doing. It's just that community support, hundreds of other artists, our weekly check-ins, the accountability and encouragement, and the people in our community are just so special. They're generous, they're loving, they're there to support you. So, we just think that is like the best part, is doing it with all of you who are part of the community.
So our structure and how this kind of works, and since we're in it, right now, it's coming up. So next week is actually our commitment week. So what that means is if you can come to the live session, great. If you can't, you will watch the replay and still fill in this information. So we have created our workbook. It's the Thriving Artist Map. As a member, you're going to get a free digital copy, and then you can always order a physical copy if you want. And what we've done is we've actually included our art residency pages right in it. So in the commitment week, we are going to write our residency statement. It's really getting clear on what you're going to make. You're making basically this sort of plan for yourself for this month. So that's next week on Tuesday. So that's kind of our week 1. And then the following week is prep and plan. So that's where you're like, what things do I need to wrap up so that I'm starting to work February 1st on these ideas? It could be getting supplies. It could be making dinners that are in the freezer so that you know that you have some time the following week. It could be this personal life stuff you need to get in order, or it could be that I want to get all these sketches done this week so that I can launch into the finished product the following week. So it's however you need to prep, you're getting organized. And then that February 1st week is work week 1. So every work week we have prompts and we have sort of this method to get you along, to make sure you're on track. And those will be check-ins and community prompts on the network.
Just a note to say too, that, it's hard to do all of this work as an artist. You could set up your own virtual or personal residency, but we really believe in just that little bit of structure, the little bit of prompts to kind of just be there for you and help push you through. It can be hard to stay committed, right? Especially when life comes at us. So we hope that that 6-week structure feels good to you, that it feels like support, but also isn't overwhelming. Like all of this on the network, you can plug in or out as you see fit and as it comes to you. So that's kind of another part of the flexibility of it.
Essentially, our second week, we say, what has already not gone to plan?
Yes.
Because we can set ourselves up, but there's still life and the people around us. So it's always making these little adjustments as we go.
Well, and even in the planning, like we have prompts for you to think about, kind of what you're going to have to give up in order to make this happen, right? And just really thinking about a residency more holistically, not the traditional, you're just going away for a month and your life is going to be put on pause. Like, no, that's not the reality for so many of us. And so we really want our residency experience to be this constant pivot, this constant dance of like, you are an artist, but you are also a human, and you as a human means a lot of different things, right? And so we never want you to feel overwhelmed or shamed or, motivated in ways that aren't authentic to you and your life right now. So as Jamie mentioned, when you become a network member on the Thrive Together network, we have our whole year mapped out, and all of the programming is kind of set, and you get to plug into that structure, which is great. And that structure is called the Thriving Artist Map. So that kind of is the container for everything that we're going to be doing together as a community in 2023. There's activities, there's a bunch of good resources in the map. But as Jamie said, it also includes the information about the residency. It has prompts for you to write out your plan, to do, sketches or take notes or whatever you want to do. And here you can see that it also plugs into this art planning, goal setting yourself up for the whole year. And it just is this big, long continuum of connection and getting you really kind of laying your foundation for your art year. We've done all that hard work for you. If you just follow the map, you're sure to be successful. You're sure to thrive.
So this is kind of what these pages look like, to give you an example, but so the plan, we have the prompts there for you and you're kind of filling it out, and then we go through what we need to organize. So everything's in one place, it's in the map, and then you're going to use that throughout your residency to refer back to and, check in. And sometimes with art residencies, like you go into it with a plan and then something different and wonderful comes out of it because you had the time, you made that space. And that's really the key to this being a wonderful experience.
So we were
Yeah.
wondering if there are any alums here who have done the residency before, and if you are willing maybe to just share one thing that was impactful to you about the residency experience, maybe like a favorite thing that you liked that we did, or just something that was kind of powerful for you. And Jamie and I have a few examples from past alums who have shared with us before, if nobody is here today who wants to share. But if you will unmute or use the raise hand feature and we'll call on you to unmute, that would be fantastic.
Last time when we had an info session, one thing that came out of it that really made me think, and I realized that it helped me a lot, was a member had said that by doing this residency in her own life, by not going away somewhere else, it actually created some habits that stayed with her and is still as part of her practice. So by creating that space for yourself in your natural environment with the people that want things from you naturally, you can actually, see that, oh, it works if I set up my art stuff over here. I now leave it out and the family's used to that. And so then it can continue on in your real life, quote unquote. So I thought that was a great takeaway.
One thing I love about the network too, and many of us being female identifying or non-binary artists, is there's a lot of caregiving on our plates. And one thing that you'll see as you plug into the residency that people share is sort of these tips for managing domestic life within doing this. So somebody will pop on and say, I am going to do like this meal planning and set myself up for freezer meals for every Monday. And Monday night, my husband's going to pull the meals out and I'm going to stay in the studio. Right. And so there's lots of inspiration and sharing too, for just how to like make this happen for yourself, whether you're looking to commit to 1 hour a week or 10 hours a week, whatever that goal is. Suzanne, do you want to unmute and share? Are you an art residency alum?
Yes, I did my first residency in September. I had just joined, and I'm also an art educator, so that was the beginning of the school year. What I really liked is it set me up with a time frame and organized myself into those chunks of time that fit into my busy schedule. And I really like the celebrations that were built into. I thought that that was really a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a good point to bring up. Yeah, we should have had a whole slide about how we force you to celebrate your accomplishments. That is, part of our vision of empowering artists and helping you take up more space is like actually pausing to acknowledge the work that you are doing and celebrating it, whether it's getting a cup of coffee, like a fancy coffee, or taking yourself out to dinner. Jamie and my celebrations are always focused around food. You'll hear us talk about that almost every week, but we just love and we really want you to pause and reflect and celebrate and think through rather than always moving on to the next thing. So Suzanne, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for sharing. And what a
Suzanne,
testament that you're a teacher and you still
that's
are.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing that you went for it, even though, September, we really, for planning, we're like, should we do September, but should it be October? But we're like, September is that, like, to me, it's like the new year. It's like a fake new year because I'm an ex-teacher as well. So it's like September just kind of gets you set up. So good job for participating during that time. That's
Okay.
great.
So Jamie, you want to take this?
Yeah, so next week we are going right into commitment week. So you will just start this process next week. So we hope that you're getting excited about it and it's happening. So that will be next week, kind of really writing down your plan, thinking about what you want to get done. Then we go into our prep time. So that is really making a list of like, what do I need to wrap up so that Monday this all starts? And then it's basically 4 work weeks. So each week has sort of a theme or questions that you want to dive into from us. And it's really just to keep you on track. Again, your goals could be, I want to go to my studio 1 time this week. That's okay. It also could be that I want to make art every day. It can be and either end of the spectrum. So it's every Tuesday. It's our art and tea time. So that is the same time as this, every Tuesday, and everything is recorded. So if you can't come, there are lots of our members that participate with watching the replays and get a lot out of the network and out of the community. Because even if you can't come live, you're going to have prompts on the network and ways to show and participate what you're doing. And then we have a whole session the week of March 7th, which is our celebration and kind of reflection on what went well and how are we going to use what we did for the rest of the year, which is why February is just such a great time to be doing this.
So one way, or the way that you can join, is to become a member on Thrive Together Network. And our membership offers a lot. The residency is just one of sort of the key things that we facilitate on the network. If you're already a member, you can find all of the tools and the resources and sort of the prompts and stuff that we're going to be going through for the virtual art residency on the left-hand side of the network view. And it's under this virtual art residency tab. And if you're not yet a member, I'm going to have Jamie talk to you about how you can plug in and join us.
Yeah, so we have a member portal. Everyone meets on the Thrive Together network. This is what that home screen looks like. And we have basically all of everything we offer is on that toolbar, and you can plug into each offering. And so we have our art and tea. So that happens every Tuesday. In the Thriving Artist map, you'll have worksheets, and you'll have that digital download to kind of walk you through that. We also do weekly prompts and challenges. After our sessions, we do a boost group. So everyone posts together on Instagram if you need help with social media support, like I do, because I hate it. And it will give you a challenge, and then people support each other that way. And then we have our 2 virtual art residencies. We also have our initiative Taking Up Space. So members show their work in the month of May. Last year, we had between like 65 and 85 art shows happening all over the world through that program. And then we have a resource library. So if you have questions like, how do I price a mural? We have all that for you. And, we have granting opportunities and you get to choose what you want to learn about. So the network's really flexible and you'll get notifications on the things that you care about. So we're really proud of this space. It's very friendly. It's very welcoming. I'm very proud that we have attracted such wonderful people, and it's because of all of you. So we really appreciate it. It's $45 a month, and you do save a bit of money if you join annually. So it works out to about $33 if you do $395 for the year.
Yeah, and we really want to offer that annual discount because this is a year-long sort of structure and program, and we would love to emphasize that it is better, right, to kind of commit to the year and join us that way if you're able to. And you can always reach out to us if you have specific questions about finances or about being a member. Now we want to offer, just some time to ask questions. I'm sure we tried to be thorough and cover everything, but there's always kind of some questions that come up. If you are not comfortable asking the question on this call, you can email us at info@thrivetogethernetwork.com. That is definitely better than sending a message on Instagram. Those can get lost, as I'm sure you know. So please email us if you have questions, and we will do our best to get back to you over the next couple days so that you can join us on Tuesday. That's kind of the first day that the art residency is officially starting, as it's the kickoff of commitment week. So,
and I'm here in the chat. If you have a question, you can put it in there. If anyone knows exactly what they're going to work on during their residency, pop it in the chat. I would love to see that. I'm working on a new series of drawings. I've been working on kind of sketches to get myself started, and I really want to come out of this with 2 finished drawings. I want 4 finished drawings, but I'm trying to be reasonable. So I'm going to say aloud 2. And that would be very, very exciting. So yeah, you're welcome to unmute or raise a hand or put anything in the chat. Maybe we answered everything, Caitlin.
Bev, were you just grabbing your coffee or? Okay, grabbing
Okay.
your coffee. Masha?
Masha.
Yeah, so I will be traveling actually for the month of February, and I was not planning to join the residency for this reasons, but I'm actually thinking about challenging myself and doing it because I think during the travel is actually the time when it will be away from my daughter, it will be away from kids, and it would be a kind of a great way to embrace the local culture. And I always dreamed about like taking this sabbatical, going to Europe or somewhere and just taking this time to create art. So I'm thinking, do you have any examples of the past artists who've done something like that? I probably will post on a page in the network, but what tips or advices can you give? Because I will be on the go and it's pretty unpredictable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my biggest one is creating like an art kit that is super portable and not something that you're going to feel like, oh, I got to drag this thing out. I've never been a great sketchbook person, but I actually went on a trip to Australia and had this journal with me and just some black pens. And that became this practice that then led to my entire series that I did coming back, and kind of it was such a jumping off point, and I hadn't gone in being like, I have to make art. But because I had this handy thing, and I felt really inspired because I was away and excited. So whatever you decide that's going to move you, I would just make sure it's super easy and it can go into a side bag. Like, I had brought art supplies on that trip, but it was in my suitcase. And then I'm not going to take that out to a coffee shop, but this little journal and these pens like worked for me. So I definitely think it's possible and a good idea. Yeah.
I would even say, Masha, too, just without knowing like your specific medium or like much about your practice. Some people use the residency to complete professional goals. Like, so it might be 2 hours of networking a week. Like that is what they're doing for their residency. It might be like, I know somebody last, I think either Jen or Tara last time, their goal was to build themselves a website, right? Or to redo their website. And that they kind of worked on that like a little bit each week. I think like of something simple, using a very portable tool, like taking pictures, right? Maybe every morning you do a half an hour walk when you're going to get your coffee and you take a bunch of pictures and you just let your mind rest. And like, it's not so much, sometimes it's not so much about, I'm going to make 20 paintings, but just the mindset, that mental break of, I'm going to focus on, myself, on connecting with my identity as an artist, on being creative, without sort of the final output being anything concrete, if that makes sense.
Also with
Yeah.
travel, and I think with having a month art residency, I really encourage writing about your work. I think that's something that we do as an afterthought, and we do it when we're like, oh, we got to get this application in, and you have to go back and you know that you made it for a reason. But especially being out in the world, start just writing notes about what you care about, the visual things that you see that you like. And it's going to be so helpful to thread that together for, as simple as like Instagram posts or newsletters, but also artist statements and future. Writing has definitely been something that I've had to like push myself to, but it is so, your future self will be so happy when you're like, I have to write this statement, and you have all these notes in your journal ready to go. So yeah, I hope that was helpful, and I'm excited
Yeah,
to be thinking of doing it.
thank you. Yeah, it was super helpful because I'm actually going to go to Australia too.
Oh, amazing. Where will you
Yeah.
go?
Sydney, Melbourne, and then New Zealand. I have family in New Zealand, so we'll be visiting my grandmother. And there's a couple of places in New Zealand. So yeah, it's super helpful because then it makes me just like think about all many different ways how I can apply. And I usually take a lot of photos on the go, and it's just like, and I like to take artistic photos of patterns, and
Yeah.
I think that would be like my focus is, yeah,
Well,
kind of.
My art epiphany happened on a a chair that was made to look like a fern out of wrought iron in the Sydney Botanical Gardens. I sat on that chair and started drawing with a black pen, and that is where all of my work came from. So go find my chair,
Wow.
be
Wow.
inspired.
All you need is a cool chair and a pen.
I draw that
Yeah,
chair a
amazing.
lot in my work, so yeah.
Really? Okay, amazing. I will look for it for sure.
Thank you.
Glad to have you, Masha.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments before we wrap up? So thankful you guys all came, and we're really excited to dig in next week.
Yes.
I saw in the chat lots of people have ideas of new series or finishing up series, so that's great.
And I just want to emphasize too, like, the point of being realistic with the time that you have, right? This is, I think, a radical program because we're not asking you to like disconnect from your everyday life. When we write our plans together next week, there will be time in our weekly art and tea session to kind of let you think about, what time do I have and where can I fit this in and what am I going to give up? But, we don't want to like inspire you in a way that then you're going to turn around and start something and you had this idea of like making 30 paintings and it's just not realistic. Like we really want our programming to meet you where you're at instead of, make you feel like this is just another thing that you're going to be set up for and not complete. Right. So
Wins.
Yeah, we want you to win. Like we want this to feel authentic and celebratory. It could be as simple as 30 minutes, you can really start small. So definitely think about ways that you can incorporate this into your life as you're either setting yourself up to commit or just thinking about that commitment that are not, I don't know, actually unrealistic to who you are. Because we really want to meet you where you're at. And we think you are enough as you are, right? And the time that you have is enough and the resources that you have is enough. So definitely this is a residency that is supposed to inspire more confidence in exactly who you are, not make you feel like you have to be somebody else.
Okay, I'll just do 2 drawings, Kaylin. I'm gonna let
That
it
will
go.
be enough.
That'll
Jamie.
be enough. That's enough. 2. Okay, you all heard it here first. Thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful week. We hope to see you all next week as we begin. We
Yes.
commit.
And again, if
Okay.
you're not a member, you can sign up at thrivetogethernetwork.com, or our email is info@thrivetogethernetwork if you have a specific logistics or financial, anything like that question. All right.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
week. Bye.